7 of the Hannah on the Road podcast. I'm Hannah, your host for today and always. And as usual, I am coming to you from my living room in Berlin. And I have to say, it's quite late. I'm hoping that I can fix the lighting a little bit in post-production of this episode. Because I've been waiting for a few days for the light to get better so that I can record. But I finally wanted to record today. So let's just try and see how it goes. I'm sorry if the lighting is a little bit off, but I promise that I will do my best in editing to make it a little bit nicer. So without further ado, not without further ado, maybe I should talk about what this podcast is actually about. So this is a podcast about making, primarily knitting, and running a creative business. And if you want to find me on social media, you can find me as Hannah on the Road on Instagram, where I'm most active. And you can also find me under that name on Facebook and on Revelry. If you want to find show notes for the blog, they are all on my website, which you can find linked in the down bar below. I feel a bit out of practice. I am a little bit out of practice because I didn't record last week because I was sick. So yeah, bear with me. Also, just to say this now, this might be the last podcast episode for the year. I don't want to put too much pressure on myself to actually record something during my vacation. If I have time and if I want to, I will. But yeah, it might be the last time that we see each other before 2018. Isn't that crazy? If you want to follow me though and see more about what's going on in my pre-Christmas life, I am doing Vlogmas this year. I know it's kind of crazy. I was sitting in bed sick last week and I was like, oh, Vlogmas sounds like fun. I should do Vlogmas. I'm doing Vlogmas. So I'm doing Vlogmas for the first time ever. I'm hoping you guys like it. I'm hoping I don't fall off the bandwagon. If I do, I'm very sorry about that. But yeah, I'm really excited about it. It's so much fun. It's a lot more unedited than this, so that's cool. Alrighty, let's start with the making part of the podcast. So I actually do have a finished object, but it's a Christmas knit, which I won't be sharing. I will try to record a few snippets of my Christmas make so that I can insert them into a later podcast episode. But for now, know that I have a finished object downstairs that I can't show you yet, but it's good. I do have 4 works in progress though that I want to share with you, and one is almost finished, and that's my dad's red Ford sweater. So this is really almost finished. The only thing that I have to do still is to weave in the ends, but it's seamed, it's blocked, and I love it. And I thought I would talk a little bit more about this today because this will likely be the last time that you see this because I will be obviously gifting it to my dad. So this is a pattern by Julie Hoover, designed in Brooklyn Tweed Loft, which I also used to knit this in the colorway button jar, which is this great dark green with specks of yellow and blue in it. And I love the look of it, and I'm hoping it will fit my dad. It is knit on, or I knit it on 3.5mm needles, and it is knit in pieces and then seamed together. And I really loved it because of its portability. So it was up until the point where I seamed everything together. It was really nice portable knitting and pretty mindless as well. And let's talk about a few of the details because they are my favorite feature of this sweater. So, oopsie. The sweater has this really, sorry, that was the postman. The sweater has this really nice sort of like V detail in reverse stockinette below the neckline, which I really like. And then it also has these side panels in reverse stockinette, which you sew in so that the seams are exposed, which I really think gives this a really nice modern edge. You also pick up and knit the neckline and the cuffs with sort of like the seam, sort of like the seam being exposed, which I also really like. The only modification that I did is that I added some ribbing to the bottom, because I gave this to my dad when he was here the last time, and I had sewn together the body without the arms. And we both looked at it and were like, it could really use some ribbing. So I added some normal 1x1 rib at the bottom, and I really like it. It just gives us a bit more polished feel. As I said, it is seamed. So the way that you seam it, or the way that the way that I seamed it, was that I seamed together the back and the front at the shoulder, and then I seamed in the side panels, so that I had sort of like a pull under, like a vest kind of thing. And then I seamed in I seamed up the arms, and then I seamed the arms into the armholes, which was the trickiest part. I have only done this once before, I believe, which was for my Andava sweater. And I had to rip this back once because it just looked weird, but then I found this great tutorial that has you pin in the arm, sort of like the shoulder cap, in the armhole with stitch markers, removable stitch markers, so that you can see if you're still on track with where you should seam it together, and that really, really helped. The last steps then are to pick up and knit the neckline, the cuffs, and then the ribbing. And then I gave it a good block, and I really love the fabric. Like, it's so even, and I just love it. If he doesn't like it, I'm so gonna wear this. So again, Redford sweater for my dad. Really happy with this. Hope he's gonna be as happy as I am with it. Speaking of my dad, let's move on to another work in progress, and that is a little bit of a funny story, because I'm making a few Christmas presents, and I had thought about what would be a good, oh, sorry, I was just confused. What would be a good Christmas present for my dad? And I thought, ooh, maybe a nice pair of mittens. So I cast on and knit an entire mitten in a pattern that I had already. This is the Treehouse mitten by Melody Hoffman from the Mandarins, and I knit this in the Fiberco Cumbria fingering in one of their green colorways. I don't have the tag with me, but it's this gorgeous cake. So I knit this. You probably can't really see because it's too dark. Finished it. Then my dad sent over his Christmas wish list. And on that Christmas wish list, he said that he wanted socks. Which is why I can show you this, because this is not going to be a Christmas present. Yeah, it's fine. I love the yarn. I love knitting socks, so I actually don't mind knitting a pair of socks. So that's going to happen. But I thought I would show you the mitten because it's sort of done. I worked on it, and yeah, it's not going to survive. But that's okay. That's entirely fine. Then there are two other works in progress that I want to share with you. Just one for the sake of completion, and one because it's brought me so much joy. So the one that I want to show you for the sake of, not that this has brought me joy, but I'm working on it because I want it done, is my second first day sock, which is a pattern by Verena Kos, and it's knit up in Tuscanet's non-superwash sock yarn. And this was from a collaboration that I did with Maria earlier this year, and I still love this, and I am really, really excited to get these sort of finished, maybe even before Christmas, because I've been really loving wearing my hand knit socks. But the work in progress that's stolen my heart is one that lives in one of my big project bags, which is now too small for it because it's gigantic. And it's my Black Forest cardigan. The last time that you saw this, I had just divided for the sleeves. And now, look at this. Look. Well, I wouldn't say I'm almost done with the body because there are still quite a few rows to go, but I made considerable progress on this. This is a pattern by Verena Kos, again, from our book Woods, and it is the squishiest cardigan that you ever saw. It's knit in Direum Natura Cyrano, and I chose the colorway Doré, which I'm still so in love with, and my goal would be to have this finished still this year so that I can wear this to death in the winter because it's getting cold, people. It's knit in fisherman's rib. This is not brioche, this is fisherman's rib, and it has these really, really wonderful side details that I'm hoping will be a bit, sort of like a bit better to see when I block it. My knitting wasn't entirely, let's say, painless for this part. I had to rip back a bit, and ripping back in fisherman's rib is no joke. It sucks. But I did it, and I'm so glad that I did, and now hopefully smooth sailing from now onwards. So I'm really, really loving this, and I can't wait to knit on this tonight, possibly with an episode of The Crown, because it's back for season 2 and it's wonderful. I love it. Okay, lovelies, these are all my current works in progress, I think. Yes, they are. Other than more Christmas knitting, which I can't share with you, so yeah. But making has just been making me incredibly happy in these last few weeks, both making for myself and also making for other people for Christmas. I feel that this is really just, it's a wonderful feeling to be able to make something for someone that you love. Okay, let's talk a little bit about shop news and the shop update, and I wanted to talk to you about my special winter edition because I came out with 2 special prints that were custom made for me, and I printed them or had them printed and sewed up a few bags with them. And those are these 2 beauties. These are in the shop right now in, I think, all 3 sizes. This is mulled wine and this is pine cones, and I just love them, and I hope you love them too. And I wanted something that wasn't too Christmassy, so here they go. And I hope I didn't really, I don't know. Guys, I'm all over the place today. I'm really sorry about that. This is probably like the worst end of year episode ever. I just need a coffee and an hour of sleep. But well. So these are in the shop right now. I love them. I hope you love them. What else is going to go into the shop right now? Or like in 3 days, because today is Monday, and on Thursday I will have my very last collaboration of the year. I'm so happy that I did so many amazing collaborations this year with female makers who are dyeing amazing yarns or running their own yarn companies, and I hope that I can continue with that in the future. My last collaboration with Ruth from Raincloud and Sage sold out in a day. That was crazy, and I'm really happy that I can bring it back to someone who I collaborated with earlier this year, who's a wonderful maker from Denmark, and it's Ida from Woolapik. And Ida and me, we teamed up, sorry for the crinkling, I just had to get out some fabric. We teamed up again for a year-end celebration collaboration kit, and it's gonna be a skein of her yarn and a small size project bag from me. And Ida dyed up the most wonderful colorway that's called Hygge, and I love it, and I can't wait to get this on my needles. Maybe this is going to be my Christmas Eve cast on. I will insert a picture here with proper lighting so you can appreciate the beauty that she created here. This is a 50% non-superwash merino and 50% silk, 400 meters, so on 100 grams, so a really classic fingering weight. And it's gorgeous. And I picked up the most perfect 100% wool cream white herringbone fabric to go with it. Isn't this great? This is gonna be so good. So this is going into the shop on Thursday at 7 p.m. CET, and I'm hoping you guys like it as much as I do. What else is on the list? So yeah, the shop is pretty much stocked right now. So in addition to the winter prints, there are still a few charcoal and burgundy and forest green bags left. So if you've seen any of if you like, gosh, I'm not good at this today. I'm sorry, guys. If you liked any of what you saw, head over to the shop, get your hands on them, and yeah, I will go on Christmas vacation next week on Wednesday, and everything that comes in as orders after I am going on vacation will ship out in January, and I hope you understand that. I'm sure you will. Which is a nice segue into the creative business side of things. And I honestly don't really have that much to talk about there right now. Things have been progressing in a more routine rhythm, so to say. So if you remember, a few weeks ago I was talking about how hard it's been since the work on Woods took up so much of our time to get back into a normal working rhythm after the book was released. And I feel that now it's gone back into a somewhat normal rhythm, both with the project bags and also with the coaching. I was really happy about the positive reception of the Kick Butt in 2018 challenge. I got a lot of really wonderful feedback around that, and that made me super happy. I'm thinking of doing it again next year, so stay tuned for that. And the other parts of the business are really just everything that has to do with talking more about value-based businesses, figuring out what that means, how you can incorporate that into your own businesses. That's been a great pleasure for me. It's still very much in a thought process kind of stage. So you've seen probably my Instagram and my Makers Monday posts. I am in the process of writing up a few blog posts around that, but I'm also just really looking forward to diving into a few books that I bought around that topic over Christmas, and just giving my brain a little bit of space to breathe and think up a few new ideas around that, and then plan out what I want to do with that for next year. So I'm really excited for next year. This year was good. It was also challenging. It was financially better than I expected, although not as good as the year before that. But that was natural. That was to be expected because I didn't take on any big corporate clients. And I'm really hoping that next year I can take it up another notch. I would really want to have everything on stable footing and plan a lot further in advance, or plan a few things further in advance so that they don't surprise me that much anymore. Things like holidays, right? So that's gonna be really exciting, and I really just loved having this space to talk to you about what's been happening in my life, what's been happening in my making, and I really hope you enjoyed this too this year. I will say that I would love to get a little bit more deep, or a little bit deeper into that running a creative business side of things. I know it's been lacking a little bit in my podcast in the last months. I think part of that is because I'm doing a lot more intense videos for Patreon that are more in depth, and I would just really love to find a good balance of still incorporating creative business content here in the podcast, because that's why I wanted to do this in the first place. I didn't want to have just another knitting podcast. I wanted to have something different. I think what would help me with that is if you guys sent me any questions that you have around running a creative business or starting a creative business, or what I do with my creative businesses or anything, in the comments below, and then I can work my way through those questions. So I would really love that. Other than that, life has been good. I've been sick. I'm still not feeling super well, which you probably could tell. I'm not at my usual Hannah crazy energy level, right? But that's life. I am still working for 1.5 weeks, and then, as I said, I'm going on Christmas vacation. I'm looking forward to taking some time off, taking a few knitting projects with me, reading a few good books, and then we'll be spending New Year's Eve here with my sister and her partner and a few friends, and that's going to be really exciting too. And I hope that I will see you either in Vlogmas, or you don't feel pressured to watch Vlogmas. I know some people like it, some people hate it. It's honestly just pure fun for me just to record those videos. So yeah, if you are curious, if you are interested, check out the Vlogmas videos. If not, I would see you on the interwebs in the time until the new year, and then either sometime, I don't think I'm gonna be recording a podcast episode later this year, let's be honest. So I will see you in the new year, and have wonderful, wonderful holidays. Enjoy the time with your loved ones, give them a big, big hug, light a candle, take a deep breath, and enjoy your knitting. Bye!